Working with strings is especially important whenever you're dealing with any amount of data, regardless of where that data is. And SQL gives us a lot of functions to act upon data. From the top, you'll notice that we have both char index and pat index. Now, both of these are going to look for a string inside of another. The big difference, however, between char index and pat index is that char index will look inside the entire string for whatever it is we happen to be looking for, while pat index will take a pattern expression, so using the underscores and the percent that we learned earlier when we were doing like. What's nice about pat index is that it gives us a little bit more control over how we're going to perform our search. Left and right will both give us the number of characters starting from the left or starting from the right, where we specify an offset. Ltrim and rtrim will get rid of leading spaces and trailing spaces respectively. And then len will return back the length of a string. Let's take a look at char and pat index. Now what I want to do is just simply select it out just to print it. So we'll say select, and then I'm going to say char index to start. Now, one of the things about both char index and pat index is that they behave a little bit differently than a lot of other programming environments. That typically you pass in the string that you want to look inside of, and then the string that you're looking for. In SQL, it's backwards. So let's say that I wanted to look for the word speaker inside of the expression something like that. So setting up surround sound involves multiple speakers and lots of cable. Now with char index, what this is going to do is this is going to return back the location of the letter S in speaker. So S exists at spot 45. Now if we did this exact same thing with pat index, and let me just highlight this bottom one here. There we go. You'll notice I'm going to get back 0. 0 means it wasn't able to find it. And you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, Christopher. Why wouldn't it be able to find it? Well, the reason that it wasn't able to find it is because it's doing it based on a pattern. You'll notice no percent signs. So if I wanted to look inside the entire string, then what I would have to do is do percent signs. And so now this will look inside the entire string, give us back the exact same value. So pat index is going to give you a bit more control over how you're going to do your search as opposed to char index. If you want to control formatting, SQL 2012 has got a couple of great functions for you. The first of which is concat. Concat will concatenate strings. On the flip side, we have format, and format will give us the ability to convert the value to a string by using .NET format codes. And there's a whole lot of documentation out there on the .NET format code, so I'm not going to go through them all, but I am going to mention in my little demo here C, which, despite what Cookie Monster will tell you, is going to be for currency, not cookie. Let's take a look at concat in action here. So I'm going to start off by opening up my Management Studio here to open up a brand new query window. And let's put together kind of a very basic little query. Let's say select name from production product where list price is greater than 0. Kind of a very basic little query. I execute this, sure enough, I'm going to get the name. Well, let's say that I wanted to go one step further, that I also wanted to display how much each item costs. Well, one way that I could do this is by sneaking back up to my select line, saying plus, and then costs, plus, and then the list price. Now you're going to notice when I execute this, that unfortunately, this is going to fail out. It's going to tell me that it can't convert a car value, which is what name is, it's a string, to money, which is what list price is. And then if you keep reading, it actually tells me that the car value has incorrect syntax. The reason that this is happening is because plus could be one of two things. It could be string concatenation, which is what we want it to be, or it could also be addition. Now the issue is this. SQL will basically always try and convert to the most restrictive data type. So what it's seeing is the fact that list price is money, which is certainly more restrictive than just string data, and it's trying to convert everything to money. That's a problem. What's the solution? Concat. Because the great part about concat is that concat knows right up front that it's going to be a string, so it'll automatically convert everything to strings for us. So now, just going to sneak back to the beginning, we'll say concat, put in my parenthesis there, and we'll just get rid of the plus sign. We'll get rid of the plus sign, replace those with commas, and then just because I'm not feeling overly creative here, I'm just going to say as display as the name there. And now we're going to get everything properly concatenated together. If I execute that, sure enough, there is my results. And one of the things that I actually like about this is the fact that it, I think, reads better in a lot of scenarios, especially if you're going to be doing an awful lot of work.